Okay, Miss Hill, if you can, say your first and last name with the proper spelling of your first and last name for the camera, please.
May I add my middle initial?
You can.
Lorna C. Hill.
Wonderful. Miss Hill, thank you for coming out. Can you describe your emotions from after watching the Whiteness Project?
Yes, I feel frustration.
Frustration from what?
I feel frustration because I hear people, and it's especially noticeable with young people, saying the exact same things that they were saying when I was a child or a teenager. And it indicates a lack of progress.
Can you repeat the question and just do the same answer again? Just kind of repeat the question. Watching the Whiteness Project made me feel frustration.
Oh, okay. You want me to do it like we do it
Yeah,
in school? No
right,
problem.
right.
Watching, having watched the Whiteness Project, I felt frustration. I felt frustration because it's a clear indication that we are still having the exact same conversation we were having when I was a child. And because I'm 64 years old, that can be quite disconcerting, disappointing, frustrating. I had hoped we would have advanced in the conversation beyond that point by now.
Do you think that as a country we have gotten any advancement from the black race?
Any advancement from the black race?
Right.
Advancement in what area?
Well, just in general, you're saying we're having the same conversations back from the 60s.
Oh.
Do you think as a country, we've had any advancement since then?
Advancement in our conversation about race?
Right.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. We haven't advanced. We've advanced in some specific sectors, but as a nation, the mere fact that Donald Trump is the number one Republican candidate is evidence that we haven't progressed. He's the reincarnation of George Wallace. I can remember, in fact, when George Wallace wouldn't have been allowed to run for president in this country. You understand? So, in fact, not only have we made progress, but in some regards, we've gone backward. Now, some people will take things like interracial marriage and integrated schools as an indication of some great change. Some people even take Barack Obama being president as an indication of some great change. No, it's change, but you can hardly consider it great. Look how long ago, how far back do we go to date the Emancipation Proclamation? How long has Reconstruction been over, right? How long has the Civil Rights Movement been over? So how could him being president in 2008 possibly represent significant progress?
Let me interject here. What's your thoughts on Donald Trump? What would make you say that statement with him even being allowed to run for president?
Well, no, actually, I overstated when I said he wouldn't be allowed to run for president. The fact that he is the number one Republican candidate in 2015-16 is a significant indication that we are, in fact, going backward, okay? I can remember when even a conservative candidate, and he's not a conservative candidate, would not say the racist things that he says on national television. There was a time that national television didn't cover quite so many people. It was across the nation, but everyone didn't have a television. I personally have a television in every room of my house except the bathroom. Okay, so he's speaking to almost every person in this nation on a daily basis, and he is spewing racist remarks and considerations. He's not using any facts to back it up. In the world of propaganda and persuasion, we refer to that as a disinformationalist. He doesn't even support his prejudices, and that's what they are, his prejudices with any concrete information. There's no data. It's just all, I don't like you. And that's not a basis for running for office.
What was the number one thing that upset you with this, all the comments that he said? What's the number one thing that Donald Trump has said that really, gets you going and just can't believe it?
Every single thing Donald Trump has ever said, I find absolutely believable. It sounds just like what he would say. And I am frankly always glad to hear him say it. It doesn't upset me at all. Okay? Just because the man is a racist and it's a bad indication doesn't mean that I find it upsetting. I'm very glad that he's the front runner. I believe that that makes my candidate a shoo-in, number one. And I also believe that it helps the crackers come out of the woodwork. Okay? I like to know where the crackers are living. I like to know their territory. Okay? I know where Donald Trump makes his speeches. He very deliberately chooses certain communities to make his speeches in. Okay? Communities where the majority of a great number, I shouldn't say majority, of the white population is undereducated, underemployed, frustrated, and looking for an enemy. All right? I'd like to know where they are.
What's your definition of crackers?
Crackers are people who have an unreasoned hatred of people who are not like them.
Let's just take a step backward. Why do you think, in your opinion, that the country has digressed in its racial battle? Why do you think that we're dealing with the same problems in 2016 that we were back in 1960s? What's your opinion regarding that?
How did it happen? Well, a number of reasons. I mean, there's too many, obviously, to discuss in this little forum or in the short amount of time we have together. But it happened for a number of reasons, one of which is that sometime in the late 70s, which is about when, as a race, African Americans began to move backward economically, which is unfortunate. I'm saying to you that in the late 1970s, African Americans were at their peak financially, and we've been sliding backward ever since. That's not an opinion. That's based on data. That's based on the census. Okay, so it started, I think, there. Okay, so we've been experiencing backlash for quite some time. We haven't been acknowledging it as backlash, and we've been taking flashes in the pan as indications of some kind of tremendous success. You see, I was the first woman, not African American woman, first woman accepted to Dartmouth College. Okay, to some that represented progress. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It wasn't progress at all. The progress would have been if it was not necessary for the public to mistake me for being the first African American woman accepted to Dartmouth. You see? That's progress. And I don't know if I was clear in that. You understand? So we took the wrong things to mean progress. A husband who beats you and then brings flowers home, that's not progress.
Can you describe, in your opinion, how racism manifests itself?
Well, it has so many manifestations. I'd say probably today, the one that concerns me most, okay, because there are a lot of them. But I'm very disappointed to see so many young black people, and I'm using that term in a large way, so many young black people say, well, I'm not black, I'm this, and then they give you this laundry list like Tiger Woods, I'm Cabal-Asian, all to say that, you know what it really is? I'm embarrassed to be black. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to be part of this group. I'm embarrassed to be the descendant of a slave. Okay? That hurts. That hurts. It's a strong indication that our children haven't been taught about slavery and what it really says about us.
When obviously you saying how you feel, but a lot of these kids think black history began with slavery.
Yes, that's exactly my point. Our children don't know their history. There's no one available to teach it to them. Have you been to a public school? What's the percentage of African American teachers in schools where the gross percentage of the students are African American? When you go to Williamsville, how many times do you walk into a classroom? I've done a lot of guest artist work, so I know the American landscape of public school classrooms, okay? You go into a classroom in the suburbs or a school in the suburbs, you're not going to see a majority of the teaching staff is black, while a majority of the population, the student population is white. White folks wouldn't stand for that. But we stand for it in our schools.
What are some of the solutions for this? What are some of the hopes or what do we do?
Well, I majored at Dartmouth in American intellectual history. And one of the things that I'm very, very certain of is that he who does not know his history is doomed to repeat it. I'm certain that that's true. I am absolutely certain that that's true. It's true on a small scale and it's true on a large scale. If we don't teach our children their history, the direction that we see too many of them going in now, they will continue to go in. They will simply continue to go in it. And I don't blame the mainstream culture for that. I blame us for that because we can do something about it. Not only do black, African American, whatever you want to call them, colored children need to know their history, all children need to know the history of America, period. You know, black history was supposed to be a temporary thing. I was in that age group that fought for us to have black history taught in the schools. You know, that age group that got us Black History Month, that got us black this, black that, black student unions, blah, blah, blah. I'm right dead out of that generation. That was supposed to be a Band-Aid. That was supposed to be a bridge, not a permanent structure. It's like the temporary buildings they put up at the Main Street campus of UB. Those buildings have been there since 1955. Talk to me.
What do you categorize yourself as? Are you African American? Are you black? Are you color? What are you?
I am black and I am African American. I'm very proud to be so. Despite the ambiguity of being African American, because since Africa is not a country, I would much rather be like Ghanaian American, but I don't have that privilege. At the same time, I figure it works. European American seems to work for some people, but I would love to know what country in Africa my ancestors actually came from. But that's what I consider myself to be. And not because I'm not of mixed race. Obviously, I'm of mixed race. I couldn't be this yellow if I wasn't. But that doesn't mean anything. I identify myself based on my culture, you see. And I was raised in this culture, black culture, African American culture. And if I had been adopted as a baby and raised in, I don't know, someplace in Indiana on a farm with white people, I would probably consider myself to be something else. I don't know what, because it didn't happen to me.
Back to you, Pete. You want to do a stereotype number 4?
Yeah. Well, I think that actually I want to go to this other question. Okay, regarding the Bureau of Justice Statistics. Okay, black men can expect to go to prison. Mm-hmm. Okay, at least 1 out of 3 can expect to go to prison in their lifetime. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
Well, there's 2 things that run hand in hand here, right? Capitalism and racism. Now, this is a conversation that's been going on certainly all of my conscious life, and I assume it actually started, in fact, I know it started from books that I've read before I was even born. This tension between, is the root of this capitalism or is the root of this racism? Okay, well, that's a husband and wife team, you dig? So one is always serving the other. One is reliant on the existence of the other. So capitalism needs to have certain people on the market, a set number of people on the market. Nowadays, that entire market has to support the lifestyle and the coffers of the 1%, okay? That means there are not going to be a lot of people on the market, all right? Racism conveniently provides us with a mechanism of immediately moving certain people off the market. Just move them right off the market. All right? So when you talk about the percentage of African American males who are likely to go to jail, then you also have to talk about how old are they going to live to be anyway if they don't go to jail? What's the life expectancy for a young black man? How many young black men are graduating from high school at all? I'm not talking about in 5 years. But at all, what do the numbers look like? All those numbers cooperate to keep this market going just like it is. You have a lot of young black kids coming up. They're not being given any opportunity to come onto that market. They have no expectation of entering that market. They don't know anybody who's in the market. You understand? It's a completely foreign concept. They don't even understand what the market is. All right. So, yeah, jail is a wonderful way to contain people, get them off the primary market, and at the same time, create this other fabulous sector of the market itself, right? Look at the amount of money we can make with jail. Look at a community. Let's take a town like, let's say, Attica or Auburn, a town that ordinarily doesn't have anything going for it, but it's got this big jail. It's the linchpin of their economy. And it's also the linchpin of their funding from the government, okay? Because the prison population is counted as population for that town. It's a win-win. I wish they'd put a big jail in the black community so we could make some money.
What's some of your
Hello?
I like that a lot. What's some of your comparisons with incarceration and slavery? Do they go hand in hand to you, or? Because kind of some of the things you just said, it kind of sounds like modern slavery to me.
Well, yeah, well, we know it's all slavery, right? Slavery by another name, I believe, is what the writer Blackman, he's a white man, but his name is Blackman. Remember, he wrote that book, Slavery by Another Name? And he shows us the ways in which black people continued to be enslaved after the Emancipation Proclamation until well up into the 50s and 60s, which may not mean anything to the young viewer, but I was born in the 50s, so it means a lot to me, okay? So slavery for black people has always been there. The mainstream changes the name of it, manipulates the methodology of it, okay? So we don't call it slavery, but if you're black, you know it's slavery. You know it's slavery.
You mentioned while we were coming here that you call yourself a modern-day black revolutionary.
Did I say modern day?
Well, maybe not.
I said I'm a revolutionary.
You are a revolutionary.
Absolutely.
Tell me, how does that intimidate people of other races? You know, and some of your white colleagues, your white friends, you said that they know that you are a revolutionary.
That's right.
Does that intimidate people?
It doesn't
of other
intimidate my friends. I think it attracts my friends to me. I mean, there are black people who don't want to be friends with me because I'm a revolutionary. And what do I mean by a revolutionary? I'm not talking, no, you are not going to see me on the steps of City Hall with a rifle, okay? Saying we want blah, blah, blah now. But you will see me standing on the steps of City Hall dressed as a slave with a sign. And you have seen me do that, okay? Either you find that attractive, that I call them like I see them, and that I insist on change, because that's what a revolutionary does. Revolutionary, revolution, revolve, turn, change. That's all it means. I insist on change. Now, some people find when they confront that vibe, because a lot of it's vibe, right? When they confront that vibe in another person, they find it intimidating because they think it's saying something about them. It's telling them that they lack something. There's something they have not done. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, they want to reject you. And they won't say to you, your approach to life intimidates me. No, in fact, what they will do is say to you, you are the racist. You see? And that's supposed to throw you back. Or they'll say, don't play the race card. Whatever the hell that is, right? They will say something to try to throw you back off of that self-expression, you see. But most people are attracted to me because that is who I am, because they believe in the same need for change, no matter what color they are.
Let me backtrack a bit. I want to get some of those pictures, too, with you on City Hall. So we can
I've got the video somewhere.
Oh, yeah. If we can get some videos and pictures of you kind of doing some of this stuff, because I like to incorporate them.
Remind me, Pete, I gave it to Shantina to put on a DVD, and it hasn't happened yet, so I've got to get it back from her, but I've got it.
How was that received when you did that?
Scared Mayor Masiello to death.
Drew?
Uh-huh.
How much time you got in your card?
3 minutes. That's what I'm
All
saying.
right,
This is
we're
the
gonna
last
wrap up.
question.
All right, let me just backtrack a bit. What do you think African American blacks not having our native tongue, not having our correct, last name. Obviously, Smith, Johnson, Green, Brown, whatever.
Hill.
What do you think that has done to, when you say we're not even proud to be black, what do you think not having our native tongue, our last name, and thinking history began with slavery with us, what do you think it has done to us in a long-term effect? And then kind of repeat the question a bit.
I'm sorry, repeat the question. Okay.
What do you think blacks not having their native
Right.
tongue?
Yes, I got it. I got
Okay,
it.
Okay.
I got it. I think that blacks or African Americans not having their native tongue or their original names has different meaning to different people. It has no meaning to me. I respect and enjoy conversation and feedback from people to whom that does have meaning, for whom that does have meaning. Okay? It just doesn't happen to have any meaning to me. What does have meaning to me is not knowing history, okay? I happen to know my history, and I happen to know how much it empowers me, how much it confirms my sense of myself. Because at the end of the day, I could have been born on Mars, right? I could have been born and then died immediately. There's so many other possible outcomes to being born, okay? So that doesn't bother me. But I think I need to know my history. I need to know who I come from, even if I don't speak their language. I need to know how I got here, even if I don't want to be here. Maybe especially if I don't want to be here. That just doesn't have value to me, but I do understand why it has value to other people. I do understand why other people can find that concrete.
I think we're good. Because we
Any
got enough
questions,
cards.
Groove, if you still want to just finish that card out and keep going.
I was gonna say,
Is
he
there
only got a
anything you
minute.
want to say, Ms. Hill, that maybe we didn't ask, and just like a general overview, or if anybody's watching this, what do you want to say to them and speak to them directly?
I want to encourage people to learn to talk about race. I don't think any of us do it particularly well. I think we're all afraid to do it. I want to encourage people to learn what distinguishes racism from discrimination, from prejudice, from bigotry, because they are separate things, overlapping, familiar to each other, but separate things. I would like to encourage people, white people in particular, to understand that when you don't realize the American dream that you were told is your birthright, it's not because of me. It's not because I got it and you didn't get it. If your job is only hiring 10% African Americans or people of color, when you don't get the job, you have not been displaced by a black person. As a black person going in to apply for a job where they're only taking in 10% African Americans, I'm competing with the other African Americans, not you. Learn some math.